Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Dave Guerra, and it's time for The Weekly Leader. You know the premise, 2 stories, 1 leadership issue, and let's dive right in for this week. All right, the first current event that I want to talk about is cryptocurrency. Yeah, it's crypto. You know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of that, Dogecoin, yeah, all of that. Well, what I want to talk about it's real simple. The prices have been going down. It's kind of quote unquote crashing. But again, is it really? Folks, it's one of those that people have a good vibe about it. People don't like it. They do like it. It's kind of indifferent. And with anything that's new, there's always going to be an up. There's always going to be a down. And there should not be any confusion that will happen. That will happen. And so now the naysayers, the ones that don't like it, are coming out and saying, well, hey, look, it's the price is crashing. What did you expect? That's fine. It happens. But a couple of things to share here, and the leadership aspect is really with anything you're committing yourself to, is if you're not ready to commit, don't commit. That simple. If you're going to dive in, make sure you know where you're diving into. Do your homework, understand that. And lastly, don't share with anybody what you're doing. Because again, there'll always be the naysayers, and sometimes they'll be right close to you, sometimes they'll be strangers, but it doesn't matter. Let them mind their own business by you minding your own business, and don't share with them what you're investing in. Full disclaimer, and here it is. See, I'm about to violate number 3, but I am invested. Okay, so I do keep an eye on it. I did my research before jumping in, and I understood that one, and always the rule with any kind of investing, real estate, stocks, ETFs, whatever, never, and the same thing with Bitcoin, and the same thing with cryptocurrency, never ever invest your money unless you go in with the mindset that you are prepared to lose it. So if you're leading this and this is going to be your retirement, no. It should add to your retirement, but it should never be 100% of your retirement. That's all I'm saying. So go into it knowing how much you're going to spend, how much you're going to commit to it. Know what you're committing to. Do your homework, and again, keep it to yourself. Because again, people are going to be quick to say, I told you so. Alrighty, the next one deals with Texas. Yeah, Texas, that's where I'm based out of. That's where here's where I am. And it's a new law, well, getting ready to come into play. It's Texas House Bill 20, and it deals with social media platforms that have over 50 million users. It makes it illegal for them to, it makes them illegal to block, ban, remove, or otherwise deny access to anyone. And those that are blocked, banned, denied, or access has been denied, there is a remedy. So right now, the big, the Twitter, the Googles, the Facebook, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the TikToks, all of those, they're all kind of trying to work together. Sorry about that. They're all trying to work together to, well, one, make sure that this law doesn't happen, because this is state law, Texas state law, but they also have the rest of the world. So how is that going to work? Also, again, they're fighting it, and they don't want it to go into effect until it is cleared through the courts all the way through. So they're kind of asking for kind of like put not an injunction, but kind of put a hold to it. All right, so the leadership side of this, folks, and this applies to every business out there. I'm not kidding now, if your government, local, state, federal government, is starting to impose rules on how you perform your job, and especially if it impacts the public, because, hey, don't forget some of these, these gateways to get to TikTok, the gateway to get to Twitter, sometimes it might be through a public location, a publicly funded location, right? So again, think about that. So anyway, moving on. So if if a state entity, a governmental entity, starts wanting to regulate your business, all for the simple act of, hey, you're denying access to individuals, it might be time to kind of, one, figure out what it is and what your rules are, and that they're clear, concise, and really, truly understood by anybody that comes on board. 2, also, that on those that are trying to regulate you, also understand that you are following the rules that have been set from day one. No deviation, nothing. It's like, oh, well, somebody has hurt feelings. Well, you know what? People's feelings are going to get hurt all the time. But if you're just arbitrarily kicking people out, if you're just arbitrarily banning people, blocking people, removing people without any recourse, or without any standing, without any, erase recourse, without any standard by which they're going to do this, you just arbitrarily do it, then hey, there's a problem there, and it's a problem that needs to be addressed. So organizations, it might be time to kind of review what your policies and practices are, and are they being held to the same standard 100% of the time to 100% of the individuals involved? Customers, clients, stakeholders, internal, external, across the board. It's time to look at this, because if this can happen in Texas, it can happen in other places and to other sectors. All right, now we're to the leadership issue, and the leadership issue today is accountability and responsibility, those two things. And they go hand in hand. In this case, this actually happened. I was sitting there witnessing. I was waiting for an event to begin, and I got there a little early. I was sitting outside. There was a little bench there. And just off to my left, there was a double set of doors. So somebody was walking into the double set of doors. I had my face down on my phone. What else would I be doing? I'm waiting for my thing. They'd come in. So they walk in, and this individual, all of a sudden you hear splash. And it's like, well, what happened is the individual dropped their hoop earring. It fell down, hit the floor, and then as they bent down to pick it up, they dropped their cinnamon dolce latte venti mocha half calf decaf matcha with ice, and they spilled that onto the floor. Well, they got their big hoop earring and just walked away. Got in the elevator and went up to the third floor, where they went and hid someplace, because I went looking later on for a different reason. But they went and hid. The person just never came back. Doesn't matter who they are, what position they held, or what they believe their status is. The person never came back. Folks, you make the mess, you clean it up. It's that simple. That's accountability. You are accountable for yourself and for your actions. You're responsible for the outcome of those actions. And when you decide that you're just too good to take care of it, well, guess what? Somebody's always watching. People are always watching. So it's up to you to ensure that, hey, you want to be the leader. You want to be perceived as a great leader. You want to be the one people turn to. Then be the one they turn to for a good and proper reason, not on how to scam others or how to get away with others. Now, don't get me wrong. It got cleaned up, right? It got cleaned up. I cleaned it up. No big deal. But that person just never came back. And I know this because as I was sitting there and then the event started, I was sitting by the door because I was the one greeting individuals coming through the door. So I know that individual never showed up to even check to see if that puddle was still there, or if there's somebody there with their knee turned the other way and because they slipped, tripped, or fell. No. So that's fine. It happens. It'll always happen. There'll be individuals like that. But again, I'll remember that individual. And I know who I'm dealing with when I talk to that individual. And I know that, hey, it's already out of their mind. It was probably out of their mind by the time they got in the elevator and left. And never came back because again, they believed, hey, well, I'm just me. I can get away with it. Folks, people are always watching. You're always watching yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself to a higher level of accountability and responsibility. And watch what happens when people start following you. When they start seeing, hey, this person holds himself to a higher standard. This person, I want to emulate this person. I want to be like this person. It happens. But it only happens when there are individuals that are ready to hold themselves accountable, behave in a manner that is responsible, and then, and only then, will people start to see it. Alrighty, listen, that's it. That's right, we're at the end. So that's it for this week. Hey, follow me on my social media platforms. Let me know you watched the show. And I thank you for stopping by. I thank you for your time. Have yourselves a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Take care.